could somebody please explain this puzzle box thing? I've seen some people mentioning the puzzle box edition to get the Forge of Spells to work. I'm having a hard time Googling it. What puzzle box? And unless I'm blind or stupid, I can't find mention of this in the adventure anywhere. What's this about a puzzle box? I have run this adventure so many times and I've never read anything about a puzzle box. You're not going crazy. There is no mysterious puzzle box in this adventure as written, nor in the Lost Mines of Phandelver. Instead, the puzzle box is a piece of advice that I gave years ago and it kind of caught on online and it broke containment. So in this video, let me give a full explanation, full context. What is the mysterious puzzle box and how do you use it? In this video, we're going to accomplish three things. First, I want to try and convince you that this puzzle box is worth adding to your story. Then I'll give you a template so you can design your own puzzle box with your own story beats and put it in front of your players. And I'll also give you an example of a pre-made puzzle box that you can lift and straight up just drop it into your campaign. For an explanation as to why you should include this puzzle box in your campaign, look, let me just show you how my first Lost Mines campaign ended. And hint, it didn't go well. You find yourselves finally in the chamber of the malevolent Black Spider, whose ruthless deeds you have spent the last 3 years cleaning up. Here, the culmination of your party's campaign is laid before you at last. Your nemesis awaits. Then the party bursts into the room and, who the flip are these guys? So with that bad experience fresh in my mind, I worked out the most effective question I could ask myself to improve this campaign. And that is, how do I make sure the villain and the heroes know each other? And my answer is to give the heroes an item that the villain wants. That's this. I'm talking in the first session of the campaign. When Gundren gives the players this job, he also gives them the puzzle box. And he says, keep this thing safe. Inside this mysterious puzzle box is an item which will unlock great treasure. This way, we have an excuse for the Black Spider to show up a few times in the campaign and try and get this puzzle box off the players. Of course, technically, that does make this puzzle box a MacGuffin, because the only reason this item exists is to stoke conflict between some characters. But I'm okay with this MacGuffin being a kind of superficial thing because it achieves a really important purpose. And when you're at the end of your campaign and you're looking back trying to evaluate whether the puzzle box was successful in your story, just ask yourself, has the Black Spider met the players? They have? Great! You win. Does it end up in the Black Spider's hands? Fine. Does it end up in the player's hands? Fine. I don't care. I just want these people to meet and kiss. But here is the unsatisfying part which we will address today. Gundren said to the players, this is really important. Keep it safe. It's so important to the story. Look, that's a promise that Gundren made to the party. That's a promise that we, the Dungeon Master, made to the players. And if it ends up being entirely superficial, mate, that's dynamite with no bang. Very disappointing. So this video is all about making sure Gundren's promise has a satisfying payoff. That's right, all of that was just the introduction. Today, we're making the puzzle box important. First off, let's cover the anatomy of a puzzle box as a story element in your campaign. And you can use this as a template for creating your own. Your job here is to make this puzzle box into more than just a superficial MacGuffin. And that means adding some meat. And since we're playing a game called Dungeons and Dragons, that meat is adding gameplay mechanics. Let's have a quick recollection of exactly what the promise is that Gundren made about this puzzle box.
What up, fam? It's me, your boy, Gundren Rockseeker again.
Remember what I said earlier? Inside this mysterious puzzle box is an item which will unlock great treasure. Okay, bye. So it sounds like we have 3 blanks to populate. The box, its contents, and a challenge at the end of the campaign. We'll start simple and look at the physical box, the actual item. Ask yourself these 2 questions. What is the physical box, and how do the players open it? The obvious and most basic answer to those questions are, hey, the box, it's a box. Oh, what? That's crazy. And the players can open it by succeeding a series of checks over a series of long rests as they work out the puzzle. You can illustrate this to the players by giving them a physical prop and then putting masking tape on the sides, maybe with DC 17 written on one of them, DC 15 written on another. And they roll to take the tape off. The reason I'm suggesting you spread out these checks over multiple long rests is just to slow release the drama from this mystery. What's inside? Let's build some suspense. But for our purposes, this box could be any vessel that holds an item inside and requires some effort to open. Did I say puzzle box? No. This is a scroll and you open it by deciphering the code. What box? This is a clam, okay? This is a clam and there's something inside, and if you want to open it, you need to convince the clam by casting Speak with Animals. Puzzle box? No, this is a music box, buddy. And if you want to open this box, you need to teach the ballerina inside a song. In the end, whatever you choose this box looks like, I promise you the A+ solution is to give the players a physical prop. Put it on the table, they will go mad for it. But you probably already have a great box around your house. I would suggest, rather than writing the lore of a great box and then trying to find something that fits your imagination, do it the other way around. Go around your house, find an interesting looking object, and then write lore that fits that object. The second part of Gundren's promise about this box was that there's something important inside. So the question is, what is it? What's in the box? Again, the most basic idea is inside this box, there's a key. But that's a crap idea, okay? I did that my first time around the box. It worked fine, but it's not an imaginative idea. You can come up with something better. But it does have to meet these criteria so that it's functional for our purposes. The item inside this box must be specifically useful to help overcome a challenge at the end of the campaign. The item inside this box must be a physical item that can be lost or stolen or traded away, rather than some wishy-washy farty idea like you open the box and you get a memory. Can't steal a memory, baby. Third, it needs to be magical, okay? If the players smash the puzzle box open, I'm okay with that. But if they break the important thing inside, I'm not okay with that, so I don't want them to be able to break it with mundane means. The last component of Gundren's promise was that there's some kind of challenge or guardian coming up. So you need to ask yourself 3 questions for this one. Question 1, what is the challenge they'll face at the end of the campaign? This encounter will either be a combat challenge, role-playing challenge, a trap challenge, or maybe even a puzzle challenge. In the example I'll give in the next section of this video, I will give you a fully fledged combat challenge, a total example that you can straight up rip off and take to your campaign. But in the PDF that I've taken that example from, I have an example of each of those 4 kinds. Question 2 is, how does the item inside the puzzle box help overcome this challenge? And this is a really tricky one to answer, because we are saying that the Black Spider is so afraid of this challenge. This challenge is so dangerous that they will go out of their way to get this item off the players. But we don't want this item to straight up just bypass and trivialize the challenge, because there's no drama in that. So when you're deciding how does this item help overcome the challenge, it's a fine line. Question 3 is, if a character does not have the item inside the puzzle box, how can they try and overcome this challenge anyway? Because the players might have given away the puzzle box, they might have lost it, and if they rock up to the Forge of Spells and they want to try and access it, well, how are we going to handle that? Right? Because proceeding without the puzzle box's contents should make the challenge more difficult, but not insurmountable. I think it would suck to rock up to like just an invisible mime wall and say, no, this is gated content because you gave away the key 3 sessions ago. Man, that sucks. That's not fun. Hey, Rogue, you want to try picking this lock? Yeah, see what happens. Now here's an example of a box, its contents, and the challenge that I would include in my campaign personally. This is called the Demonic Puzzle Box from this PDF here. You can get it on Patreon, or you can get it for free if you want. Maybe I'll do a giveaway. Sign up to my newsletter, start-a-quest.com, scan that, beep boop. Sign up to that newsletter, and I'll send you a PDF for free if you win the giveaway, okay? There'll be one winner, and I'll also give away a copy of Phandelver and Below. Physical copy of the book to one lucky newsletter subscriber, start-a-quest.com. This is the Demonic Puzzle Box. This puzzle box is an otherworldly artifact of malevolent geometry. When you shine light directly on the smooth obsidian faces, each reflects distorted images of the world around you. Although the surface is cool, when you apply pressure, it rapidly becomes unbearably hot. Its edges are sharp, but not quite enough to cut you. On closer inspection, glowing amber runes appear on 3 of the box's 20 faces. These runed faces seem weaker, more brittle than the rest. So this demonic puzzle box is meant to lead to a combat challenge at the end. We're going to fight some kind of demon, and there's something inside this puzzle box which will help us defeat that demon. But first, we've got to get it open. In that read aloud text, we saw that there are 3 faces of this D20 shaped box that are more brittle, right? And you could actually crack them open if you applied enough pressure. Just sustained raw grit and strength onto one of these faces, pressing all of your might for hours and hours, you might crack through. So we need 3 strength checks over 3 long rests to crack open this box. And let's ramp up those checks a little bit. Say the first one just needs a DC 10, the second one 12, the third one 14. And if you spend all night trying to pry open this box, you don't get the benefits of a long rest. When a character is applying that prolonged pressure to the demonic puzzle box, they hear a seed of doubt in the back of their mind, a thought that's going, you know what, maybe I'm not good enough to open this box. What am I doing? Am I wasting my time? But they slowly realize that voice, that's not their inner monologue. That's a demon. That's the demon at the end of this trail, which is taunting and belittling the players. And when they finally crack it open, he goes, a worthy opponent. Inside, they see something that I've always wanted to touch personally. You know, you look at a lava lamp and the wax is going around all big globules. I've always wanted to grab that stuff. That's what they see in here. It's a kind of viscous glob of molten energy. We call this the molten mote. When the players hold this bright orange, seemingly superheated molten glob of energy in their hands, even though it's somehow cool to the touch, they may not know its exact purpose. They can tell it's magical, yes, but what's it meant to do? Observing its behavior, they see that it seems slightly magnetically attracted and drawn towards weapons. Not metal, but towards weapons. If a character's running around like Buffy the Vampire Slayer with a wooden stake, this is actually drawn to that weapon, and the glob of whatever material this is seems happiest when it is attached to a weapon. Fast forward to the end of your campaign when the players enter the Wave Echo Cave and they're standing outside the Forge of Spells, and they look and see their prize, but there's somebody in there. It's a demon. The Forge of Spells is being protected by this thing, this red-skinned reptilian demon that paces back and forth in the forge like a caged dog, whining, just waiting for the players to enter its zone of violence, because this thing is trapped. There is a lattice of runes and magical barriers that keep this demon in its place. Nothing in that forge can pass through out of that barrier. However, things on the outside can come in. Once those outside creatures enter though, they're not going to be able to leave. And also, magical effects and projectiles cannot pass through the barrier. I don't want the players to just like shoot this guy through the barrier. That's cheating. At the point these players pass through the barrier, the molten moat really reveals how useful it will be in this fight, because the molten moat attached to one of the weapons activates. It calcifies, turns that weapon red hot as it transforms into a Vorpal version of that same weapon. Vorpal weapons are the best weapons in the entire game. They are a +3. If you roll a 20, like a critical hit, then it decapitates whatever you're fighting. It's great. Look at the stats here. Don't trust me, just read it. It's so good. Now, I don't want to give the players a Vorpal weapon permanently, right? It's only Vorpal for the purposes of this fight versus this opponent. And if the players damage this demon with this Vorpal weapon and later this demon dies, then instead of being sent back to Heck where it can brood and plot its vengeance against the players, instead it actually dies. It is destroyed. But remember, this challenge needs to be assailable without the box's contents, because maybe the players gave this thing away earlier in the campaign. If that's the case, they have to fight this very tough demon without the benefits of a very tough weapon. And when this demon dies, instead of dying, it goes to Heck, right? It waits downstairs, and eventually, if it gets summoned back, it has a bone to pick with the players later in the campaign. So what would be a good stat block for this tormented demon? I think like a Balgura, they're like the big ape kind of demon fella. There's CR5, I reckon that would be appropriate here. It's not impossible for the players to beat that, but it should be a little bit tough. I might also consider giving this guy a couple of legendary resistances. Maybe like every time the players failed their strength check to open it, this demon became more confident and gained a legendary resistance. No more than 3. 3 max, okay? And when I'm running and introducing this combat, I don't think I want to give away all my secrets all at once. It's clear, obviously, that the demon cannot exit this zone. Sure, the players can infer that just from seeing the guy. But is it clear immediately that the players can't leave that zone? I love the idea of the players like getting close to the barrier and looking at the demon and he's scratching at it, trying to get at them. One of them touches the barrier and I get to describe, oh, your hand actually goes through. Make a dex check because this demon tries to grab your hand and pull you through the rest of the way. And at that point, that's actually a really fun way to start combat. Do that. Then, after combat, when the demon is defeated, the barrier falls. Because whatever awful pact or deal this demon made is now complete and it is freed from its obligation. Here is a question though. Like, this is meant to be a tough fight. What if the players lose? Like, what if the players wipe here? Because like at the end of this campaign, we are putting a challenge in front of the players, and it's a dangerous challenge. And although like I'm barracking for your friends around the table to succeed in their efforts to overcome that challenge, it really should present the real threat of failure. As a dungeon master, just like me, you want your players to win, but you need to be okay with them failing, especially this late in the campaign. Your job is to facilitate drama, and that includes the drama in the face of devastating, complete failure. For a combat encounter like the demonic puzzle box we just talked about, a total party kill is probably a viable consequence for failure. But for the other challenges, like a role-playing challenge, a trap challenge, or a puzzle challenge, then combat is actually a viable fail state. Hey, you didn't get my puzzle right, now you gotta fight me. Remember, I'm giving stuff away. If you want to win a copy of the Shattered Obelisk, Phandelver and below, or you want a copy of the PDF, which I pulled this example from, all you need to do is join my newsletter. You'll find it at start-a-quest.com. I'll give away one of each of these in July. Hey, I've got other videos about the Lost Mines of Phandelver and the Shattered Obelisk. Check out this one. It's about running the best NPC in Phandalin. You gotta watch it.